In Public Eye News, an NMU athlete used her emergency training to assist a local community member.
Caleb Rydell will have a look at our chilly forecast, and Max Stevens has details on the results of this weekend's NMU hockey games. Hi, I'm Jillian Wormlinger.
And I'm Anthony Cilia, and you're watching Public Eye News. The Northern Michigan University women's golf team was taking part in a community Zumba class on Friday, January 26, when a participant collapsed during the session. Golfer Avery Rochester put her CPR and AED training to effective use and immediately took control of the situation. The participant was not breathing and had no pulse. EMS was called, but by the time they had arrived, the AED was already allowed to reestablish the women's heartbeat to a normal rhythm and enabled her to breathe on her own. Other members of the women's golf team helped control the scene by assisting other community members through the situation and by alerting EMS. Women's golf coaches are commending the team for their efforts, and Rochester wants to encourage more people to get certified in emergency training. More than 4,000 gallons of gasoline were released onto US 41 and into the Sturgeon River in Chasile Township. According to the EPA, on Saturday, currently multiple organizations are working on recovering spilled gas and contaminated soil. It is unknown how much gas migrated into the river under the ice and if it is recoverable. US 41 is still down to one lane at this time. The initial cleanup could take up to several more days and even longer to recover any gasoline, if possibly recovered from the river. Currently, the United States Environmental Protection Agency, Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, Coast Guard, Michigan Department of Transportation, Chasile Township Fire Department, and others are all working together to clean up the spill and managing the roadway at this time.
The Dickinson Iron Community Services Agency hosted their 6th annual Frosty 5K and Fun Run Saturday. More than 200 people came out to participate in the event. Racers had the choice of the competitive 5K or the 1-mile run or walk route. It costs $25 to participate in the 5K and $15 for the mile. Everyone in the race received a t-shirt to commemorate the event. All proceeds go to support the DICSA's Walk for Warmth fundraiser. And kids across the area packed the Superior Dome to take a break from cold weather at the annual Pump Up the Dome event. It is the 8th year that inflatables have been brought into the NMU Dome to help spread and promote athletic events. Many students from these programs volunteered their time Saturday and showed their gratitude for the fundraisers. For those too small to enjoy the inflatables, they spent their time playing in a large sandbox.
And land along the Pilgrim River in Houghton County will be protected and open to the public thanks to a recently completed project that partnered the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and the Keweenaw Land Trust. The Pilgrim River Forest Project is an acquisition that includes conservation easements on nearly 1,300 acres of prime forest land and 3.5 miles of Pilgrim River corridor. It is next to the Pilgrim River Community Forest. The effort to create the conservation easements also involved years of work by the Copper County chapter of Trout Unlimited, conservation-minded private landowners, and many community partners. The land provides habitat for black bear, white-tailed deer, bald eagles, fishers, pine martens, beaver, mink, otters, and migrating birds. The project promotes sustainable timber management, which benefits wildlife by creating forests in various stages of growth. And the former sports doctor whose serial sexual abuse of girls and young women upended the gymnastics world was sentenced Monday to a 3rd prison term of 40 to 125 years for molesting young athletes at an elite Michigan training center. Larry Nasser listened to dozens of victims for 2 days last week and was almost attacked by a man whose 3 daughters were abused. His final sentence comes after he pleaded guilty of robbing women of the most truly important human qualities, trust, when they sought treatment for injuries at Twistars, a gymnastics club that was run by a 2012 U.S. Olympic coach. And after the break, we will be back with your national and international news. Stay tuned.
On American Experience.
If you wanted to improve your lot, America was the place to go.
It's an enormous period of opportunity and hope.
Gilded has the sense of a patina covering something else.
Are we two nations, the poor and the wealthy, or are we one nation where everybody has a chance to succeed?
The Gilded Age on American Experience.
Tuesday night at 9 after We'll Meet Again.
And welcome back. After a rough ride through rural Texas, backers of a proposed bullet train to Dallas pull into the Houston area Monday, where they are likely to find a warmer welcome. 2 public hearings are scheduled Monday night so Federal Railroad Administration officials can finalize the environmental report on the project, expected to cost between $15 billion and $18 billion to build. A final decision on the exact location of a station in Houston has not been made, though the federal review largely has narrowed it to 2 sites, Northwest Mall and the Northwest Transit Center maintained by Metropolitan Transit Authority. And if you have ever heard of a Juul, ask a teenager what it is. Juul is a new e-cigarette device that fits in the palm of your hand. As Wei Jiajing reports from Arlington, Virginia, schools nationwide are trying to keep them out of the hands of students.
In videos all over social media, more teenagers are using this new vaping device at school.
The kids who are doing it in my classes are not discreet about it at all.
They can be at home, they can be at school, they can be any place. Plug it in and nobody will know.
The Juul is a new e-cigarette small enough to fit into a marker, resembling a USB flash drive.
It has a cool factor. Kids are attracted to it. It's very easy to conceal. It doesn't give much of a smell, so parents cannot detect that.
Dr. Mila Vascones-Gatsky is the substance abuse counselor for Arlington, Virginia schools. She says Juul is changing how middle and high school students vape. Last year, she confiscated 1 e-cigarette in 6 months. This year, it's 2 per week.
This year, all of them has been used.
All of them?
All of them has been used.
Like many e-cigarettes, nicotine pods for Juul come in catchy flavors like creme brulee and mango. 1 pod is equivalent to smoking about 1 pack of cigarettes. Dr. John Spangler cautions the long-term effects of vaping are not known.
Since nicotine alters the way the brain develops, we are concerned about adolescents and even young adults using these products while their brain is still forming.
On their website, the makers of Juul say they're committed to combating underage use of their product. Dr. Vascones-Gatsky says she's getting the word out about juuling to educate students, parents, and staff so these devices don't end up in the hands of children. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Arlington, Virginia.
Jerome Powell was sworn in Monday at the 16th chairman of the Federal Reserve in a brief ceremony in the Fed's boardroom. In a video message, Powell pledged to support continued economic growth and a healthy job market while remaining vigilant to any emerging economic risks. Powell took the oath of office 1 day after his 65th birthday from Randall Quarles, the Fed's vice chairman for supervision, in a ceremony that was attended by the Fed staff and Fed board member Lael Brainerd. Powell succeeds Janet Yellen for the first woman to lead the nation's central bank in its 100-year history. President Donald Trump picked Powell after deciding to break the recent tradition of not offer Yellen a second 4-year term. And President Trump is weighing in on a Republican memo released last week that accused federal investigators of going too far in their surveillance of a former Trump campaign employee. Today, though, Democrats will be fighting to have their version of the events made public. Hannah Doba has the latest.
The House Intelligence Committee is expected to vote today on whether to release the Democratic rebuttal to the Republican memo released last week. The GOP memo accuses officials at the FBI and Justice Department of abusing their power by authorizing surveillance of a former member of the Trump campaign. Representative Adam Schiff, the Intelligence Committee's top Democrat, says the political nature of the memo is transparent.
The goal here really isn't to find out the answers from the FBI. The goal here is to undermine the FBI, discredit the FBI, discredit the Mueller investigation, do the president's bidding.
President Trump responded to Schiff's criticism this morning, tweeting in part, "Little Adam Schiff, who is desperate to run for higher office, is one of the biggest liars and leakers in Washington." Representative Trey Gowdy, who helped draft the Republican memo, insists it has no effect on the investigation.
I say investigate everything Russia did, but admit that this was a really sloppy process that you engaged in to surveil a U.S. citizen.
If the House Intelligence Committee does vote today to release the Democratic response, it would still be up to President Trump to decide how and if it should be made public. Hannah Doba, CBS News.
And after the break, we'll be back with your weather and sports. Stay with us.
I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. This week on UTR, it's a road trip on our own Route 66. We'll float over a long lake, show you where fish come from, and stop for some smoky, savory selections. Then we count in a kayak, meet ice cream making mammals, and even see some groovy gators. This isn't under the radar. You just gotta see.
Thursday at 9:30, Friday at 5, and Saturday night at 10:30.
Welcome back. I'm Caleb Rydell. I'm going to be taking you through your weather for today. As you can see behind me, got a lot of clouds out there, and that's going to stay with us going out throughout the week. Your current conditions right now, we're looking at partly cloudy with a temperature of 14, winds out of the west at 9 miles per hour, and a barometric pressure of 30.04 inches and falling. Taking a look at tonight, we are going to see that we have some clouds that are going to be glazed over the entire sky, low of 1. So it's going to get pretty chilly out there. Winds out of the west at west-northwest at 9 miles per hour. And taking a look at tomorrow, we're going to see partly cloudy with a high of 12 and winds out of the west at 8 miles per hour. Taking a look across the UP, we're going to see some sun on the bottom half of the UP, starting up with Sault Ste. Marie with 14, 8 degrees in Manistee, Escanaba with 9, and down in Menominee, 10 degrees. Taking a look at the western half of the UP, we're going to see 12 in Iron Mountain, 13 in Ironwood, up in the Keweenaw and Houghton, 10, and back here in Marquette, a nice 14 degrees. Looking ahead, we're going to see that Wednesday we have a high of 17, a low of 4, partly cloudy. Thursday, a high of 15, a low of 1, partly cloudy again. And Friday, finally, a high of 13, a low of 2, and sunny. Well, Max, looks like tomorrow night we're going to be able to see some stars finally again. And I hear that last night we had some stars at the Super Bowl.
Absolutely, and the unlikeliest of stars at that, Caleb. The city of Philadelphia is running wild today following the insanity that was the great Super Bowl 52, in which Philadelphia emerged victorious 41-33. Nobody outside of the two teams' locker rooms got the memo that defense was completely optional, as only one punt was forced, there was only one sack, and the two teams combined for 1,150 yards of total offense. Regardless, Nick Foles was named Super Bowl 52 MVP and becomes the first backup QB to win the Super Bowl after taking over in the regular season, ironically, since Tom Brady. 14 out of 21 possessions from the teams ended in points of some kind. It was not a traditional football game in any sense of the word, but it was an exciting and thoroughly entertaining game nonetheless. The city of Philadelphia can rejoice with the Eagles' first ever Super Bowl win and the first championship in the city since 2008. And our NMU hockey team split their weekend series down in Alabama against the UAH Chargers. The Wildcats took the intense first game of the series on Saturday 4-3, but ultimately fell yesterday 4-2, ending their winning streak at 7 games. As playoff time approaches, the Wildcats have 4 games remaining. Currently sitting at 18, 11, and 3, the Wildcats host Alaska Fairbanks next weekend. Then we'll have an off weekend before a home-and-home series with Michigan Tech. The Wildcats are still narrowly in first place in the WCHA, a single point ahead of second-place Minnesota State. And the NBA's lineup of All-Stars has suffered yet another injury, this time to Aaron Gordon, who is slated to participate in the Slam Dunk Contest. Gordon had competed in the past 2 Slam Dunk contests, finishing as the runner-up in the 2016 contest. He's missed his last 3 games with a hip injury. Replacing Gordon in the contest will be Utah Jazz rookie guard Donovan Mitchell, who is a serious contender for Rookie of the Year, averaging almost 20 points to go along with 3.5 boards and assists. Mitchell has had 2 40-plus point performances already this season and has shown he is more than capable of throwing down some explosive dunks. Mitchell will join the lineup of Victor Oladipo, Larry Nance Jr., and fellow rookie Dennis Smith Jr. in the dunk contest. Well, Jill, Philadelphia really adopted the underdog mantra to come out victorious last night, and I hear you have another unlikely story for us.
Yeah, for sure. I heard it's no longer rough for this family. A family has been reunited with his dog 10 years after the dog went missing. Deborah Sewerfield and her family assumed their dog Abby had died after she ran away in 2008 from their home in Apollo, but decade-old sadness turned to joy on Saturday when Sewerfield received word someone had found the dog. The Black Labrador mix showed up on George Spearingfield's front porch in Lower Burrell, 10 miles west of Apollo. Someone had taken good care of Abby over the years. Abby is in good health and remembers things that family taught her. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on today's edition of Public Eye News.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.